Hello, welcome to another edition of the MechWarrior 3 Weapons Bod Primer, Episode 2. I'm your host, AncientxFreako, and I'm here to talk about a few things. I changed the format for this one. I'm gonna go ahead and do the talking first, and then I'm gonna shut up and let you enjoy the luscious sound effects of the mod. So today we're going to be focusing on the Rack 5 and the machine guns. And I'm just going to try and keep it short and simple. The Rack 5s were written over the NARC, and what I did to replace the NARC was, and this is canonical in Battletech, is I gave the tag laser the ability to create a NARC signal on any target that it, well, on enemies. I don't think it'll work for non-AI character targets, but you can target other things with the tag laser, things other than AI characters. But I just don't think that the NARC effect will transfer to those non-AI character targets. So what happens there is the NARC will basically, if you go to set the tag missile to hit somebody, you'll basically NARC that AI character, and so all of your allied missiles will be automatically locked on to that AI character. So anyway, getting back to today's topic, we're dealing with the Rack 5 and the machine gun. Now, the Rack 5 was done over the NARC, and it's basically I looked up the definition of the Rack 5, okay? And what I found was it was basically an autocannon, an Innisphere invention, an alteration of the autocannon, whereby the autocannon was allowed to shoot bursts of 6 rounds in rapid succession. So that's exactly what I created. I created an autocannon that shoots in bursts of 6 rounds with barely any recycle time. Now, since I can't change the game physics or the game rules, certain rules are hard-coded into the game, and so that means I couldn't create a weapons jam function in the game, which I wish I could have. So in order to make up for that, I decided to give the weapon extra heat. So it's a fairly hot weapon, so you have to limit its use, and it's got 24 rounds per ton, and in my version, I believe I gave the Rack 5, the Innisphere Rack 5, I gave it 1 less ton or 1 less critical than the clan version. Why? Because it's a Innisphere weapon, and if there's going to be a clan version in the game, then I would think that maybe the clan basically stole it, and you know, if they had to make modifications, especially if you want to put it in the context of the Damocles Commando missions on Tranquil, then maybe the Smoke Jags couldn't manage to be as efficient as normal clan scientists would have been. And so I wanted to give it, yeah, it's got 8 criticals where the Innisphere version has 6 criticals. So you know, it makes more sense to use the Innisphere version. The Innisphere stats, the criticals that I just mentioned, those are canonical. So I just decided to take a little creative license and give the clan version 2 more criticals. The machine guns, I did a lot of work on the machine guns. I put in a lot of thought and consideration on the range, because you know, MechWarrior 3 and Battletech machine gun range is only, like, it's less than 200 meters.
Reactor online. Computers
anyway,
online. Sensors online.
here we go.
Weapons online. Coolant reserve online.
So as far as machine gun range goes, I decided on a range of 600 meters. And the reason for this is because I wanted to come up with a happy medium between reality-based thinking and Battletech. So I felt that 600 meters was the most reasonable range to give the machine guns. Also, I gave the machine guns 1,000 rounds per ton rather than 200 rounds per ton, which is what MechWarrior 3 came out with. And I believe that's canonical. But my way of thinking was, again, 200 rounds per ton of machine gun ammo seems very unrealistic. So mathematically it fits that, 1,000 rounds is basically 5 sets of 200 rounds, or 200 sets of 5-round bursts. And if you listen carefully to the machine guns, especially in this sequence, there's a lot of machine guns, you'll hear that they sound like they're shooting in 5-round bursts. Anyway, that was completely accidental, but it works out mathematically. Now if you listen closely to the Rack 5, you'll hear that it fires 6 shots. You'll hear that 6-round burst in the sound effect. When both weapons hit the ground, I added a whole bunch of impact effects. The machine guns create a huge dust cloud, and they also do the same craters, only much smaller, that the missiles do. And I also gave the Rack 5 the crater effect, as well as the rest of the autocannons in the game. Actually, all of the ballistic weapons create craters in the ground. Now if you'll notice, I think I mentioned this in the first video, that when the PPCs hit the ground, they create a huge dust cloud. And you'll also notice that when the machine guns and the autocannons fire against a cement wall or a cement surface, you'll see pock marks will show up as well. So I spent a lot of time on these sound effects, and a lot of time with trial and error, trying to figure out which previously existing visual effects I could mix and match to use for the different weapons. And throughout these primer videos, you're going to see examples of these visuals and these audio effects that I came up with. Now, most of the audio creations that I came up with, I used pre-existing sounds from the game as my beginning template, and I edited some of those sounds. This autocannon sound, I forget exactly what part of the game it comes from, but I simply edited it into what it is now. The impacts are a combination of explosions and a sound that's like a rock hitting a wall. And when they hit mechs, you get a ringing noise, like a hammer hitting a piece of metal. The machine gun sound started out with just the basic machine gun sound that the vanilla game came with, and it was edited from there. Anyway, that's pretty much it. Enjoy the rest of the video.